Going on, everybody? Welcome to this lovely Monday night. I am exhausted. I had a long day, but as I bring myself to the point some days, sometimes the show must go on. I will be eating my dinner tonight on stream, as I didn't really get a chance to eat dinner tonight at work. So I got some Korean chicken and some tuna poke that I picked up at the grocery store. So how we all doing tonight? Thank you, Stacy. Is that the Bezos bucks? Or are you doing that out of pocket? I don't like when people do that out of pocket. I want Jeff Bezos' money. But it's kind of crazy to think that I've been doing this long enough. You heard it's someone's birthday today? On January 22nd? My ignorance has the best of me. I don't know. Oh, your birthday. Well, happy birthday. There you go. So the only birthdays I remember in January is my wife and Night Ski. It's Aaron, because they share a birthday. That's the only ones I remember. Whoa. I don't know if I've ever heard this music on this channel before. It's a little mellow. But yeah. So, aside from me scarfing down my dinner, we're gonna talk about the last week of official Frostfell Adventures. So as we come up to today, we are in the 4th week of January, and that means that we are now down to week 4, which is spells and magical feats. Or I shouldn't say magical feats. I don't know why I said magical feats. That puts like a certain connotation. Why is that not? Stop. What is that doing? But yeah, today we are going to focus on putting together a few spells and feats. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this past week has been very chaotic. Been very busy and unfocused around D&D. And I'm like kind of recovering from that, so to speak. And I have not had a ton of time to sink my teeth into this particular grouping of creations. Now, I do have some notes off to the side. But I don't know how much we're gonna do. On top of that, tonight's stream is actually going to be a lot shorter than I used to, or than, I guess to say, it's going to be shorter than I usually do. I have to be up early tomorrow in order to take my wife to an appointment. So we'll be flying by the seat of our pants, getting some spells together. Maybe another feat or so. And then Wednesday this week, I am going to be doing a late night stream where I will be building that dice tower that I teased in the Discord and on the channel a bit ago. So that'll be Wednesday night's stream. Be hanging out, listening to some lo-fi, building an awesome dice tower made of Chinese Legos. So, now, as was stated, we did touch upon some spells and feats in the first week, which was hibernation. As an action, target a creature you can see within 60 feet. That creature must make a con save against your spell save DC. On a failure, their speed is reduced by half, and if their current hit points are less than their reduced movement speed, they fall unconscious. Until the start of your next turn. So, yeah. Basically, making them real sleepy, making them real slow. So, I started to think about some spells here and there. I definitely want something that deals a little bit of damage, but one of the problems is even if we just look at the standard official content for cold damage, we do have a significant amount of spells. So I don't want to step on any toes, but we do have some room to work with when it comes to ice and snow-based spells. So one that I had an idea for was Veil of the Frostwalker, or probably more succinctly, Frostwalker's Veil. Because the idea that I had was very similar to kind of like what these boots do. Not exactly. More along the lines of like what the what Frostwalker could do. Let's go and pull that up here. Yeah, stealth, but also a little more like tied into the mobility aspect of them. So, one of the original things that I had here is that, was that you could move through ice and snow without leaving tracks. Like, that was one of the things that I was going to do, and I got rid of that. But that was kind of the way that I had in mind for what could be the Frostwalker's Veil, and it would be similar to Pass Without Trace. Now, for those that don't know, Pass Without Trace is a second level spell that is like almost the given for any good party out there to take. The moment that like anybody in a party can take Pass Without Trace, they really should. And if we are looking at just like official content, obviously Druid and the Ranger are gonna have that, but there is also the Trickery Cleric and the Shadow Monk, as well as the Mark of Shadow Elf, getting that, the Earth Ganassi, the Mark of Passage Human, as well as the Feat Wood Elf Magic and the Demir Operative. So there's a number of ways that you can get it. There's also just, it's a second level spell. It's not that hard, but there's also magic items that can give it to you. But the main idea behind it is that for up to an hour of concentration, you have a veil of shadows and silence that radiates from you, and all creatures of your choice within 30 feet, including you, get a +10 to dexterity stealth checks and can't be tracked except by magical means. You leave behind no tracks of your presence. Now, the thing for me is that I don't necessarily, when I thought of this, I was thinking it more in the line of what the Frostwalker would be, and giving them a stealthy option, but instead of it being so powerful as it is, multiple creatures, and it's giving you a +10, and that's what it's doing. The idea that I had was that you can move across ice and snow without, oh man, my eyes, without leaving tracks, and your movement speed is increased by, I don't know, we'll go 10 feet. So basically, it's giving you even more movement, and just essentially just giving you that extra speed. Now, it's not going to be anywhere near as powerful as like haste, which doubles your movement speed. I probably wouldn't be opposed to bumping this up to 15. But essentially, it's like, what would it be? Like a thin layer of ice forms under your feet, increasing your movement and obscuring your movement and quickening your speed. There we go. So Something like that. Like I want a spell. I want a spell that kind of does both. Something that gives you extra speed and is also increasing, is giving you a buff to your dexterity. So okay. So how would we put that? So this is going to be 1 hour. I would probably do it the same as Pat's without trace. So we'll put that in here. We'll make this the same thing. We'll make it a second level. This is going to be second level, and this is going to be transmutation. One action and 1 hour. There you go. Should I make it concentration? I probably should. If I make it concentration, I can make it more powerful. Okay. There we go. So it's now advantage on stealth checks. So that's not bad. Plus, the fact that it's putting you up to a 45-foot movement speed on average, 50 for some classes, that's meaning that even if you are moving through difficult terrain, if you have nothing else that like stops you from being affected by that, you're still moving at about 25, feet per round. You're still moving pretty quickly if you're moving on difficult terrain. Arguably. Move across ice and snow without leaving tracks. Advantage on stealth checks. I don't know if I want to do automatically succeed. Like difficult terrain or ignore difficult terrain. That to me makes it seem too powerful. I'd have to shorten the time. I could shorten the time. If I shorten the time from 1 hour to like 10 minutes, I could make it that you can ignore difficult terrain due to icy conditions. But I have so many other things that are doing that, like just across this whole thing. I think this is good for right now. It is an idea. That is the main thing. It is an idea. All right. So, another thing I had an idea for kind of plays off of the glacial shield. And is maybe a better form for it. Instead of an item, if we do it as a if we actually do it as a spell. So obviously this is going to play big into something like the shield spell. But if we do this as a second level abjuration reaction, and we'll make it instant. So the idea with this is, you know, when you're hit by an attack, you create a glacial shield. So, okay, so the reaction is going to be when you are hit by an attack. Yeah. Simple as that. So, as a reaction, when you are hit by an attack, you can as a reaction when you are hit by an attack, a protective coating of ice forms around you. Excuse me. Now, I want to avoid one thing with this. Armor of Agathis is a thing, so I don't want this. What the fuck is Armor of Ashes? Oh, that's cool. Protective magical force manifesting as spectral ashes. Oh, so it's literally just Armor of Agathis, but it's... Oh, that's sick. I like that. I want to see more of this. What is that from? Huh. The Elements and Beyond, a D&D Unleashed compendium. Bonus spells. Aeromancy, geomancy, hydromancy, pyromancy, elemancy. Interesting. Oh, these are cool. Flame Dancer Fighter, Wind Knight. A whole elemental thing. That is cool. All right. I never saw Armor of Ashes before, but I definitely like it. Now, I'm very familiar with Armor of Agathis because I played a Levistus Tiefling before, and I used it all the time. What was that? That was a supplement. That is D&D Unleashed. There we go. That is the Elements and Beyond D&D Unleashed. So, yeah, it looks like this was, don't know when this was made, but it's on 5e.tools, so that's why I have it pulled up. But I don't want this to be like Armor of Agathis. I kind of had that thought. I was like, what? I want a spell that is defensive. And I kept thinking of Armor of Agathis. But one of the reasons why I'm not a huge fan of Armor of Agathis is because, especially at early levels, it's not dealing a lot of damage. It doesn't start doing a lot of damage until you start casting it at higher levels. So the idea that I had for mine, for Glacial Shield, is letting it do essentially what the Glacial Shield we came up with last week. Let it do that. So essentially, as a reaction, when you're hit by an attack, a shield formed of ice appears before you. Yep. So a shield formed of ice appears before you, granting you a +3 to, no, we'll do +5. +44. I could actually lower it. Yeah, that is okay. Wait, this first level, that's +5 for 1 round. You know what? I am gonna lower this. I'm gonna give it a +3. Yeah. As a reaction, when you're hit by an attack, well, what's Armor of Agathis? First level. Yeah. We're totally doing this. Okay. Glacial Shield. As a reaction, when you're hit by an attack, a shield formed of ice appears before you, granting you a +3 to your AC. Until granting you a +3 bonus to your AC How do I want to word this? So the idea that I had was that when it hits, you're using a reaction to beef up your AC. If that attack still hits, then I have it like shattering the ice and creating a burst outward. But if it stops the attack, I want it that they're like, that they're restrained. Oh yeah, no, that's it. All right, what we're gonna do, a protective layer of ice envelops your body, granting you a +3 to your AC against the triggering attack. What is the specifics of restrained? Yeah. Okay. If this bonus causes the attack to miss, the attackers we got to change this to a melee. As a reaction, when you're hit by a melee attack, protective layer of ice envelops your body. And you know what? Because of that, we're going to bump this up to a +5. As a reaction, when you're hit by a melee attack, a protective layer of ice envelops your body, granting you a +5 bonus to your AC against the triggering attack. If this bonus causes the attack to miss, the attacker's the attacker is restrained by the ice covering your body. If this bonus does not attacker is restrained by the ice covering your body till the end of your next turn, if this bonus does not stop the attack, the shield shatters, sending ice fragments flying all around you. Creatures within 5 feet of you must make a dexterity saving throw. I don't know what that save would be. Wait, what's Ice Knife? This is kind of akin to Ice Knife in a way. Now that I think about it. Okay. Creatures within 5 feet of you must make a dexterity saving throw. Or take 1d6 cold damage. See, this is kind of what I wanted it to be up here. Guess we could actually bump that up to an 8 to match that. Hi, Bo. How's my little pug dog? Hi, buddy. You having a good day? Okay, he's having a good day, everybody. Bo is having a good day. Hi. You're a good boy. See, this is kind of what I wanted the glacial shield up here to do. Like, this is essentially what I wanted. Where, you know, you put up this shield, it gets hit, it shatters, it sends ice everywhere, and that causes creatures to get hit by it. So I think I might want to do this. I also don't think this should be a level 2 spell. I don't think that should be level 2. Now, at this point, I actually do think this should be a level 2 spell. I actually do think Glacial Shield at this point should be a level 2 spell. Because it's basically recreating what Shield does. But it's essentially doing Ice Knife, and it's also doing something else. Yeah. So I think I'm okay with that. I think I'm okay with how that's set up. It might even be overpowered. Yeah. This bonus causes the attack to miss. The attacker's restrained. Yeah, because I want it to be like, the idea that I have with this is like somebody coming up to you and like swinging at you with their sword, and as soon as it hits, like the ice just stops it, and then it starts enveloping around it. That would be sick. All right, so we had a spell that plays into the mobility thing positive, like for the player side. We should do something that is mobility on the enemy side. Now, obviously, I don't want to dip into slow. Slow is already a very powerful spell, but there is a there's a feature with the Rune Knight, and that is the Fire Rune. So, as a Rune Knight, If you have an item with the fire rune, your proficiency is doubled when you make checks with the tool that you're proficient with. But when you hit a creature with a weapon or with an attack using a weapon, you can invoke the rune to summon fiery shackles. And they take 2d6 fire damage and must make a strength saving throw or be restrained for a minute. So this to me seems like something that we could do with ice and just kind of have this be like the spell in a way. So like ice shackles. I don't want to go so straight to ice shackles. What if we do like ice bind? Or bind. Yeah, ice bind shackles. Actually, I didn't mind that. Ice bind shackles. Okay. What will this be? Well, what's the idea? I already kind of had glacial shields set up in my mind. All right. So, well, what's that other one? Still taking the fire damage? I'd probably swap it to, I would probably swap it to ice. Because it's almost like Arms of Hadar in a sense. You know, creatures in that area are you know, battered around, but this would be very specific. How can someone get ice breath? But like with a twist, like how when you walk, well, that would be, what's the one spell? This is not the spell. Yeah, Dragon's Breath. Yeah. Dragon's Breath would be to get Ice Breath. You touch a willing creature imbue with the power to spew magic energy from its mouth, provided it has one. Choose acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison. So, I mean, that's essentially that. All right, what did these say? The ice consumes the arm or legs. Oh, yeah. That would be sick. That would be sick. I know Dragon Breath, my thought actually started with taking breath away. When you walk out in the cold, it seems to take your breath away. I don't know. Actually, that honestly might not be a bad, that idea of like taking your breath away might not be a bad spell when we get to February, because the idea of like somebody taking your breath away, in my mind, that plays more into like, oh, they're so beautiful, they took my breath away. Like, imagine having a spell called breathtaking, where like you are so glamorous that you literally steal their breath, and it's a concentration spell. This would be like a third or fourth level spell. Yeah, it would definitely be a con save. And if it would either be con or charisma, because they would be falling for you essentially. But it would charm them, and while they are charmed, they start to suffocate. That would be sick. That would be really cool. Because, I mean, a number of rounds equal to their con mod is how long they can go. True. Elves would be okay then. They have advantage on those saves. But that would be really cool. Would be that, like, you know, you target a creature within range that can see you. The creature must make a charisma or maybe like a wisdom saving throw. But the creature must make a wisdom saving throw or fall charmed to you. While charmed, the creature begins to lose breath. Or while charmed in this way, the creature is unable to breathe and begins to suffocate. So as the air is pulled from them, because I mean, we could go minutes, but then it's a number of rounds equal to their con mod. So it's like they would really have to focus on breaking your concentration. It drops to 0 hit points and is dying. Yeah, I think it would be like, it takes, I don't know. We'll have to think of something like that. Exhaustion. You could do exhaustion. See, exhaustion though, it depends on how you play that. True, it could give a PC, but it depends on how you play exhaustion. Like if you do exhaustion in the normal system, then that's disadvantage on, ability checks and saves, and that's about it. But if you do it in the new system, that's a -1 to everything. And that in itself that's a little more, but you could play it up like that. You could play that where, the creature has its breath taken from it, and it gains a negative penalty to all of its rolls for every round that it was. I don't know. We'll have to think about this in February, but that's gonna be a cool thing. I had some stuff written down there. I'll have to add it later. Don't want to reveal too much of what I've already thought up of. But yeah, that'll be something for February. All right. But if they're already at a level of exhaustion, loot speed, yeah, that would be pretty powerful against them. All right. So Icebind Shackles. I guess you conjure icy shackles. Sure. Within range. Creature must make a strength saving throw. Creature must make a strength saving throw or have their appendages encased in ice. How long are we gonna make this? I know this one, yeah, oh, we could do it the same way. We could do it the same way. For 1 minute. Well, you know what? Creature takes 2d8 cold damage. While restrained by these shackles. While restrained by these shackles, let's get rid of that link. While restrained by these shackles, the target takes... let's reduce that then. Oh, you know what? I can actually bump this up. I can bump this up and I can make this a 3rd level spell. Yeah. Spirit Shroud, 1d8. What about Elemental Weapon, 2d4? What about this? 3d6. 3d8. Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, 2d8 damage. While restrained by these shackles, the target takes 2d8 cold damage at the start of each of its turns. The target can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, or destroyed by taking 10 points of damage. Immunity to psychic and vulnerability to fire. Well, see, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do it that way. The only reason the only reason why I don't know if I want to do it that way is because, like, it makes the argument of like anything that would have that. It's just like, okay, good. If I know that they can't beat the strength save, then I know that I'm dealing them at least on average 19 points of damage. Because they're basically going to have to take that damage. And that always gets a little tricky in my mind. So I might just leave it at that. You conjure icy shackles around the wrists and ankles of a creature within range. Creature takes 2d8 cold damage and must succeed on a strength saving throw or have their appendages encased in ice for 1 minute, or restrained by the during which they are restrained. While restrained by the shackles, the target takes 2d8 cold damage at the start of each of its turns. The target can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, or the shackles can be destroyed by taking 10 points of damage, immunity to psychic, vulnerability to fire. So, will the shackles be affected by AoE damage? As in, would an attack... No, they would have to be targeted. They would have to be targeted. Like, if it was like a fireball, or like somebody was attacking them, then yes, then they would take that damage. But you could not say, you couldn't say like, oh, well, it's only attacking the shackles or something like that. Like, if you're within the, if you're within the AoE, they will take that damage. So, because, like, for example, if you used Icebind Shackles on somebody and then used, like, Dragon's Breath and fire on them, you're pretty much guaranteed to, like, break those shackles. And, you know, you're just gonna, you know, they're basically gonna be, you know, unleashed at that point. They're gonna take damage, and because they're restrained, they're automatically gonna fail. You know, they're gonna have disadvantage on that save. But yeah, like they would be able, you know, they would break from that. Would Burning Hands? Yeah, Burning Hands would. Yeah, because Burning Hands is a cone. Yeah, Burning Hands is a cone. So like you're having to target them, and this is why I'm saying like when you cast this on them, you know, to say that it's like icy shackles appear around the wrists and ankles. It's not like they're being restrained out here, or they're being restrained out, you know, out to the side where somebody could go up to them and like use it in a very specific way. But if somebody were to cast something like Firebolt, for example, where Firebolt is very specifically, you hurl a modifier at an object within range, that would just deal it to the shackles. So if I was in a party and I was playing like a fire wizard or something, and we're fighting against an ice wizard, and that ice wizard uses Icebind Shackles on the barbarian, then I could target those shackles and break them with a firebolt. For example, well, I only rolled a 10. Let's say I'm at least level 5 and I can roll 2 of them. There we go. So that would have enough damage to break the shackles. Like, yeah, he's still going to take 2d8 cold damage, and he may have failed the initial strength save. So, but only if you're taking an AoE, which, again, that would be more beneficial if you're using this to, like, really hit somebody who's already been locked down by this, maybe for a round or two. Because at that point, you know, every round they get, you know, one step closer to breaking free, essentially. So, yeah, I'm okay with this. Now, what level do I think this is? In my mind, this is probably going to be 2 or 3. I mean, what was the other ones I was looking at? Not Breath Weapon. Arms of Hadar is a first level. What level do you have to be to get the Fire Rune? Hold on. classes. Would the PC take the fire damage? Not if it's something where you get to, not if it's something where you get to just target an object. If it is a spell that is like fire bolt that lets it target an object, then no, they don't, because you're just dealing the 10 points to the ice. If you are casting a spell like Flame Blade and you are attacking those, they do, then the person who is encased would not. But if you are casting Dragon's Breath and they're being, you know, a giant cone is being hit at them, then yes, they will take that damage. If it's something that can be targeted, it's like taking your frozen gloves off and putting them in hot water. Yeah. Oh God. Oh God. Take your frozen, take ice cold hands and immediately shove them in hot water. Just get thermal shock. Oh God, that sounds awful. All right. Where's fighter? And we want Rune Knight. So many subclasses. Rune Knight. All right. What point do they get fire? They get it off the bat at 3rd level. So, 3rd level feature is 2nd level spells. So this would be a 2nd level spell. Okay, cool. It's right about where my mind was going. True, but you're free. Yeah. Yeah. No, I see what you're talking about. I think it's one of those things where it's like, okay, do you risk the directed attack? Because realistically, you're using up action economy. Like, you know, if the wizard, if the fighter gets locked down, create water would be the counter. What do you mean? No, not create water. You mean control water? Or shape water? Oh, create or destroy water. Oh, you could do that. Yeah, you could do create or destroy water. Destroy up to 10 gallons of water in an open container with... Is it considered frozen water? I don't want to get into that one again. Oh, what a conversation. What, yeah, you know, specifically about water. Oh, man. Since it states water, yeah, that's true. It does. It specifically does create or destroy water. Specifically does state fog, so it would not be ice. Oh man. All right, so okay, yeah, what would this be? This would then be this would be 2nd level. And this would be Conjuration. That's the counter. Obscure and will the players realize this puzzle? In combat puzzle. God. In combat frustration. Alright. So this is going to be one action, and this is going to be for 1 minute. Also, I should probably take into consideration something else. Right here, we need to do, Glacial Shield is going to be self. Frostwalker is going to be self. Icebind Shackles. Let's put that at 60 feet. Hibernation. So this is going to be maybe first level enchantment. One action. 30 feet. And... oh no, 60 feet. Sentient bear. Oh god. As an action target, one creature you can see must make a con save against your spell save DC on a failure. And this is going to be 1 minute. Concentration. No, actually, it's going to be instant. Best way to figure for Shackles, AoE spell must state that it deals damage to creatures and objects to hit both. If it doesn't state object, then it doesn't. A single target states either creature or an object. That is true. I mean, I guess something like Fireball, each creature, it ignites flammable objects that aren't being worn or carried, which I guess the shackles are being worn. So it is only targeting creatures per se. So I guess Dragon's Breath. Each creature in the area, yeah. I mean, you're not technically wrong. What are spells that deal thunder damage? That would be one. What are we? Oh wait, hold on. Here we go. Thunderclap. Now, Chaos Bolt. Now that's specifically. Yeah, that is specifically at a creature. Chaotic or a chromatic orb. Oh, here we go. Thunder Wave. Unsecured objects that are automatically pushed 10 feet. Yeah. Yeah, I would say you could target it. It is a targetable thing. Snow/atmosphere to shackle forward an appendage. Upcast for one. Oh, so actually Shatter, yeah, Shatter would 100% do it. Yeah, a non-magical object that isn't being worn or carried also takes the damage in the area. Again, you could argue that it's being worn or carried. Yeah, I am going to say that, for every 2 levels, for every 2nd level upcast, you can target, or no. Yeah. For every slot above, for every slot of 3rd level or higher, increase the number of targets. Hold on. Using Rope of Entanglement for reference, since these shackles have an HP pool. That's actually not a bad point. That is not a bad point. Or taking... Yep, because that'll just be what we added here. I think I clicked that before. Yeah, there we go. The shackles have AC. I don't know if we want to go 20. I'm gonna go 15. I'll go 16. No, we'll go 15. And we'll do 15 hit points. There we go, 15 and 15. Make it a 1 with 10 charges. Well, arguably, somebody is casting this. So, oh, I see what you're saying. Would it make sense to have the shackles AC equal your spell save DC? I see. The shackles have an AC and a number of hit points equal to your spell save DC. I actually really like that. That is a really good idea, Hawketh. What's the one I'm thinking of? Smashing on a rock, yeah. Ah! What is the one I'm thinking of? That it's not friends, it's the other enchantment spell. Really, any enchantment spell would probably help me here. Here we go. This is all I need. Actually, let's swap the school to enchantment real quick. Let's do this. Let's look at second level spells. Here we go. When you cast a spell using a spell slot a third level or higher, you can target one additional creature. Well, a second. Sweet. Because this is essentially, like, if we're really thinking about it, because this should be concentration. Arguably, this is basically just hold person, but dealing damage. So this actually should be, this should be, whatchamacallit, this should be third level. This should be third level. And look at that, we don't really have a lot of, well, I guess it's conjuration. That's why I'm not seeing a lot. What the fuck? There we go. That was weird. 3rd level summon. So spirit guardians. And you know what? At that point, if we're up to this. Oh, Sleet Storm. That's also another one. 3rd level. Hunger of Hadar. Actually, no, I am going to keep that there. Keep that at 2. Because we're doing something else entirely with it. No, I really like this. I really like Icebind Shackles. I think that's a good spell. 3rd level Conjuration, 1 action, 60 feet, 1 minute concentration. I think that's good. I honestly think that's good. I mean, we have, you know, 2 1st level spells, a 2nd level defensive spell, and a 3rd level spell. Would Spirit Guardians attack the shackle? I would say no. I personally would say no. Because when you cast the spell, you designate any number of creatures you can see to be unaffected by it. And so, like whenever if a creature, true, it is in the area, you cannot direct the spirit guardians to do anything though. So like you could not have them be like you could not cast spirit guardians and go up to your ally that might be bound in these shackles and tell your guardians to attack the shackles, because it is not a creature. Unless the DM in that case wants to allow like them to designate their ally, but it's also going to be their ally having to take that damage, because it is Spirit Guardians very specifically, like, when you cast the spell, you have to be able to see the creatures that are unaffected by it. All enemies in an AoE are subject to... Correct. I agree with that. These shackles are not an enemy. These shackles are an object. And I'm just saying from my perspective, if one of my players picked up this spell and the cleric in my group, the cleric in my group, ran up to them with Spirit Guardians, I would not say, and they said, okay, I want my Spirit Guardians, I'm going to roll damage for the shackles. And I'm like, well, what are you having? Like, what are you attacking them with? And they said, well, I have my Spirit Guardians. I'm like, okay, your Spirit Guardians do not attack your allies, and so they're not going to attack the shackles. Now, I would make the argument that person could use an action to direct their Spirit Guardians to make that exception if they wanted to burn an action to do that, but I don't think that's necessary. But to me, if my ally is not subject to the attack, only if it's on you, if the shackles are on you. Again, Spirit Guardians to me is very specific about it being a creature. When the creature enters there, and I get that it's like Sometimes, you know, it's iffy about creature and object. I would argue Spirit Guardians would not. And that's just my perspective. If we're talking about an object that is appearing, granted it has an AC and it has a number of hit points, but I'm going to say that the Spirit Guardians would not go after it. So, but honestly, I don't mind these. I don't mind these spells. These are actually pretty decent for what we're looking at. And then we have the Walking Hibernator feat, because that's the other thing we got to work on. We got to work on a feat. Trying to come up with some other feats, but like, man, feats sometimes suck. There are so many feats out there that it is not even funny. Shackles have no soul. There you go. There it is. There it is. An inanimate object, a non-sentient object. That's probably where I would draw my line. That right there. Sentient objects I might lean a little more into. Because you took my Breathless and moved it to February? What? I wouldn't say Breathless. Were you thinking of Breathless for a feat? So I was thinking of Breathless for a spell. Hey, there we go. So long as most newer players just see AC/HP and just go, yeah, since that, can I attack it with this spell? Even though, yeah, no, I get you. I don't know if I'd have that be a feat. You know, let's get rid of the homebrew stuff. I know most of these. Oh God, most of these feats, and the feat we already came up with. The feat we came up with at the beginning of the month was already super powerful. You enter a state of semi-hibernation for a number of hours equal to your con modifier. During this time, your core bodily functions slow down but allow you to use limited resources more effectively. When you enter this state, you gain the following benefits. Temporary hit points equal to your con modifier plus level. As an action, you are able to spend hit dice to recover hit points. Side of a short rest. I think this needs to be plus half your level. And we'll do rounded up. Gain advantage on con saves. When you cast a spell that requires concentration, the duration is doubled, but your movement speed is reduced by 10 feet. When you exit the state, you need to sleep 2 extra hours during the next long rest. Once you use this feature, you cannot use it again until you finish the long rest. Yeah. I like feats because usually anyone can take them, spells less so. So the thing is, but you shouldn't be, in my opinion, and this is just in my opinion, feats should not be replacements for spells. Okay? If you have a feat, like, it should be doing things that are like more permanent buffs. And this is kind of why I'm like hesitant with Walking Hibernator and why I kind of want to explore something else. But like, for example, Crossbow Expert. Crossbow Expert is a pretty powerful feat. It's one that most people who make range characters end up taking, especially people that use crossbows, because it gives you permanent accessibility to certain things. You know, you ignore the loading trait. It takes away, so it removes a negative quality about an item. It removes a negative mechanic about combat, and it gives you an extra attack. Versus something like, you know, giving you access to a spell. And granted, I totally understand that, you know, the one spell, Magic Initiate, is totally there. I get it. Like, but even this is like 2 cantrips and a first level spell. So telekinesis is a great spell. I remember playing I was playing it was a Simic hybrid, I think. And I wanted to take telekinetic, and because he was a Simic hybrid, what the fuck was he? He was a Simic hybrid Arcane Trickster Rogue, and I wanted to do that only because I wanted to like argue that I could have two mage hands going. But yeah, it's like it's like feats should be something that is like it's like a constant permanent buff, or something that goes against a negative mechanic. This is why, like, to a degree, walking a hibernator is good, but it's only for like a certain amount of time each day that you get to use this. And granted, there are things in here where it's like, you know, you can only use it so often. But that's kind of why I like wouldn't mind coming up with something else. I just don't know what. I was struggling with this because feats are such a pain, and and trying to go with Frostfell Adventures, like a very thematic feat for ice, snow, winter, tundra, stuff like that. Like, oh man, I don't know. Like, oh, we could do something where it's like tundra, like tundra endurance, or like even just having it be like the endurance, the endurance feat, where, you know, like you can, because like if we did like the endurance feat, it could be like, you have advantage on exhaustion saves, from environmental hazards. You know, you could like hold your breath for twice as long. You have, I don't know, like resistance to something. Something around the Rangers favored. Yeah, like something like that. And that's it. Like, and especially if I'm going, and that's the other thing, is like, there is the other part of me that doesn't necessarily want to limit it to just ice and snow, even though that is the theme. Like, and I should be, like, I should be, because that is the whole idea. You know, so you could do something like this, where it's like Yeti heritage. Like, Dwarven Fortitude is kind of an idea. Or like durable. Like this durable is like, I could play into something like this. Good. But, you know, I don't obviously want it to go that way. What are some of my favorite feats? See, that's the thing. I don't really have like favorite feats. There are feats that are good, that are just across the board good. Okay. Lucky, for example, is just an across the board great feat. If you ever want to take a feat, but you don't know what feat you want to take, you should take Lucky. You know, it's just that. And that's it. You know, you get 3 points every single day that you get to roll an additional D20 when you roll. Okay? If you have, here's the thing. Here's why Lucky is so overpowered. If you have disadvantage on a check, okay, you choose which of the D20s you use. Okay, so let me point this out. When you make an attack roll, ability check, or save, you can spend 1 luck point to roll an additional D20. If you have disadvantage, that means that you get to roll your disadvantage, and then you get to roll another D20 and choose which of those 2 that you use, effectively giving you a, like, wiping out your disadvantage, and in fact giving you advantage. You know, it's like, it is so incredibly powerful, and it is one that if you want to take a feat, you just should take Lucky. But it's one of those ones that, like, not a lot of people exactly, God forbid you're a halfling, you know, and you just get to ignore ones and stuff. So it's like, there are ones that are just great. You know, great weapon master. Okay. You know, with great weapon master, if you're playing a heavy weapon melee fighter, you're almost at some point, like, there's a -5 penalty to an attack roll is a pittance to just get an extra 10 points of damage, because it's straight damage, and being able to get an extra attack when you reduce a creature to 0 hit points. Like, you know, it's just giving you something inherently more beneficial. Now, there are some that aren't as good. Charger, for example, not really the one of the ones that I want to do. But you have to take the luck roll. Oh, you're talking about being a halfling. Well, so the thing is, if you're a halfling and you have the lucky feat, it's actually, you can choose which one you use. So it's just, you know, one, you must use the new roll, but if you use the lucky, if you use luck dice with that, then you can obsessively, you know, go against it. Now there's also the halfling exclusive feat, Bountiful Luck, where you get to use a reaction to give other people the lucky trait from the halfling feat, or from the halfling race. Like, anybody rolls a 1 within 30 feet of you, guess what? You get to use a reaction, and you just can't use your lucky trait until the start of your next turn, or the end of your next turn. Simple as that. I made a character named Felix Fortuna, and that's like his whole thing. So I don't know. I don't know. Like, Don't I love simultaneously studying things? It is. This is why there's no double advantage or double disadvantage or nothing like that. I mean, another one that I really like, that I think if you're playing like an elemental based caster, that you should probably take is Elemental Adept. Okay. Spells that you cast ignore resistance to this damage. Okay, if you're a fire-based wizard like my buddy Smith, who plays in the P5 campaign, there is, of course, no reason he shouldn't have taken this, and he absolutely did. Because there's so many things that resist fire damage that he gets to ignore that. And in addition to that, when he rolls ones on damage, he gets to treat them as twos. So that means that his fireballs will never deal less than 16 points of damage. And in fact, with his particular character, there was a talent that he took from a book called Elemental Master, where ones and twos on the damage dice are treated as 3. He can never deal less than 24 points of damage. I don't even know which tab I'm on. I gotta clear out some of these. There we are. Ugh. The only exception is Elven Accuracy and Silvery Barbs, not its double. Yeah, I don't do double advantage or double disadvantage at all anyway. Yeah, like if it's specific, like it has to be something very specific. You know, Elven Accuracy is very specifically when you have advantage, you can reroll one of the dice. Like that is a nice feature. Glamour feat, once per day you can reverse time one segment, and oh god. Oh, that would be something really cool for like, that would be like a really cool like tactician feature. That would be like a really cool like higher level fighter feature where once per day you reverse time by no more than 1 minute and can start combat over with the knowledge you had up until that point or something like that. Like that would be real, that would be interesting. Ooh. Ooh. That's what depth. Oh, see, I don't want to do things. Another thing that I want to avoid is something that would give you resistance to like a damage type. Just enough to reverse, like, yeah, that would be cool. Like tactician, you know, like once per day you're able to rewind time when you like as a reaction to missing an attack or failing a saving throw. Well, wait, isn't that a thing already? Hold on, that's a thing. Not the missing the attack thing, but 100% the champion fighter. Champion fighter gets that. What the fuck am I thinking of then? What the fuck am I thinking of then? Who was it? Was it the Battle Master? Not the Battle Master. Indomitable, that's it. Yes, no, that is it. Yes, it's just a fighter feature. You can re-roll a saving throw that you fail. Yeah. That's, for some reason I thought it was a subclass feature. No, it's just a feature. Ooh. You can use the feed on others. Yeah. What's the, so you know what, hold on, what's the, we had all the giant stuff. What was the frost giant one? Okay, so this is a feat. It is a second level. It's a prerequisite feat though. Creature with a melee weapon attacks. Oh fuck. Oh, you don't know what to do. I'm trying to look at some of the notes that I had written, and they're just poop. I'm so... Oh, I am so confuzzled. So confounded. So I want to do something that is... Fuck happened to all my screens? All my screens just went blank. Okay, that was really weird. Everything just kind of flickered. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know what was happening. My computer just started to slow up. Why don't we do something? Why don't we do something that could be reworked in other that could be reworked in other elements. I had a thought of how is dormancy different from hibernation? I don't know. Okay, it's like squares and rectangles as far as Google is concerned. Hibernation is a type of dormancy, but not all dormant animals hibernate. Hibernation is a really specific kind of dormancy. So there you go. So it's like all hibernation is dormancy, but not all dormancy is hibernation. Okay, so what if we do something like frost touch? And you have developed a you are able to manifest an icy chill from your touch. All right. So we're gonna do you have resistance to cold damage. You are able to something like you are able to replace any damage type for an attack or spell with cold damage. And I honestly think, just leave it at that. I honestly think it's that. Because in my mind, this to me is very similar to Elemental Adept, but is playing into the wizard subclass that they don't use anymore. That was, or no, it's like the scribe wizard right here. When you cast a wizard spell using a spell slot, you can temporarily replace its damage type with a spell that appears in another spell in your spell book, which magically alters the spell's formula for this casting only. The latter spell must be of the same level of the one you expend. So with Elemental Touch Cold, you are able to manifest an icy touch or an icy chill from your touch. You gain resistance to cold damage, and you're able to replace any damage type for an attack or spell you cast with cold damage. So, like, if you are casting, I don't know. So if you're casting Poison Spray, for example, you can replace that with cold damage. Or if you're casting Sword Burst, you could replace that with cold damage. I don't actually hate something like that. Fireball, yeah. Because this has always been one of the things that, like, I have always house ruled with my players, where if you are a spellcaster and you want, like, if you're a very specific spellcaster, like if you want to be a lightning based spellcaster and you want all of your spells to be of a certain damage type, and you take the Elemental Adept feat, then I have always ruled it where you can cast it as this, but that spell for you becomes Lightning Ball, or that spell for you becomes, like, instead of having Poison Spray, you have Lightning Spray. And you can't do it to every single spell. You can only do it to certain spells, up to, I don't know, I'd probably put a limitation on it, like 1 plus your intelligence modifier or something like that. But I've never really had somebody go so overboard with it. But I think this would be something pretty decent. And quickly look at Chaos Bolt. Yeah, Chaos Bolt's one of those ones where it's like, okay, I make an attack, I roll my D8, I get force. Nah, I want cold. And you can swap it to that. Yeah, no, I like this. I'm going to put it back to Frost Touched for right now. Even JC said he would allow without the feat since it wouldn't. Exactly. Yeah. You know, maybe I'll leave it Elemental Touch. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, the thing is with damage types, the only one that really makes it kind of broken is if you could swap everything to force damage. Because there's only one thing that is resistant or immune to force damage, and that's a Helmed Horror. It's like one of the only things out there that's immune to force damage. Actually, I don't even know if there are other ones that are immune to force damage. Plenty of things that resist force damage, but what about immunity? And then let's get rid of all the homebrew. Okay, yeah, so there we go. So these are the only things, and most of them are constructs. Damn. Amethyst Great Worms. Pure immunity. But yeah, I think I would play this feed up as like a backup to, or as like an alternate to Elemental Adept. Elemental Adept allows you to ignore resistance to the chosen damage type, and it makes your spells a little bit more powerful in that. Whereas with this, you resist this type of damage, and you can replace any damage type for an attack or spell you cast with cold damage. Now, this actually plays into it not just being for spellcasters, because if you are a fighter or a paladin and you are attacking, you could replace your radiant damage from a smite with cold damage. Or if you are a rogue and you take this, and let's say that you take acid, you could replace your sneak attack damage with acid damage or with fire. I don't think that's too out of the crazy. I really like the idea of this being frost touched, but elemental touched, and just kind of having it play like Elemental Adept. I think totally works. Yeah, I'm up for that. I think that sounds sick. All right. Now, I want to try and get some art for these. Ooh. How pretty. I bet they are friendly. Gem dragons? I mean, amethyst dragons, I think they're mostly like lawful neutral. Yeah, typically neutral. Yeah. I don't know if they all are. Deep dragon. Where's it? Yeah, emerald. Moonstone, sapphire, topaz. Yeah, neutral. I mean, this is actually, this was the art that I used for a character. Well, not that specifically, but the amethyst dragon. I made a character named Thrum. I don't even know if I still have them. Yeah, I don't even think I have him anymore. I might have let a friend actually play him. Oh, no. I know exactly where he's at. I know exactly where he's. RIV, have a good night. Thanks for all your help tonight, buddy. Is it in the one-shots? Might be in the one-shots. Is he in here? There he is. Yes. Thrum. So this was a character that I made when my buddy Aaron and I were actually talking about we were talking about shard mines. So if you don't know, shard mines are characters. They're a D&D race of like crystalline people. And they're pretty interesting. They have like varied history depending on which specific set of lore you're looking at. But like I always liked this art, and I made a purple one. And the idea was that they were birthed from an amethyst dragon to like help defend the realm against otherworldly threats. Because one of the things about shard mines is that they are birthed from shards of the gate that keeps the far realm far. And so there's like this whole thing about them either wanting to rebuild it, rejoin with the gate, or destroy the gate. And so I made this character who was a paladin, and he was specifically he was he was like the Oath of the Watchers. What is it? Yeah, Oath of the Watchers. So basically, like he could like tell where gates were and stuff. And like his connection to the world was because an amethyst dragon found a piece of the shard and awoken him within it, in order to like have him be a defender of the world. And so like that was his whole thing, was that he had like this connection to an amethyst dragon, but his name was Thrum, because Thrum is like, it's like the onomatopoeia for something that's vibrating. But yeah, like, I mean, see, chaotic, neutral evil. Oh, that's a deep dragon. That's not a crystal dragon. Yeah. Lawful neutral, lawful neutral, chaotic neutral. Yeah. Like that's always going to be the thing. Like chromatic dragons are evil. They're either going to be lawful or chaotic evil or neutral evil. Metallic dragons are always good. They're either lawful, neutral, or chaotic good. And then crystal dragons are the like neutral ones. All right. Really should read the books I own, like Fizz. I never really read Fizzbands. I skimmed it. It has some decent monster stat blocks. For example, I looked it up because when I was considering different ways to really build up the Phandalin 5 campaign, stuff like the draconian characters or like the aspect of Tiamat actually having a physical stat block for, you know, an actual Tiamat is a thing. But then there's also like the Great Worms. But the problem is like one of the things that Wizards of the Coast does is they basically take things that are either too underpowered or too overpowered and throw them in a grinder. Like this is not a thing the players can fight. Okay. I'm just going to say, this is not a thing the players should be fighting. That's the bottom line. Okay. This thing has true sight out to 120 feet. This thing has a 22 natural AC, 530 hit points. It has a 120 foot fly speed. It can swim and it can burrow. It has a +10 to strength and con. On top of that, it's immune to fire damage, being charmed, frightened, poisoned. And if it is reduced to 0 hit points, its hit points instead reset to 425. It gets its breath weapon back, and it regains any uses of its legendary resistance. And it can now use mythic actions. Okay? Like this is not something that players should be fighting. This is one of those things that like should be just roaming like a place, and the players have to avoid it. Okay? But even with that, like, you give it a burrow speed, it can fucking dig underground and find you. And the thing is, it's like, it doesn't even like hit that hard. Like, okay, yeah, 21 hit points, 19 hit points, but it's still hitting. It's hitting with a plus 18. Where it really takes effect is its breath weapon. 12d12 fire damage. I mean, that's not really something to, you know, something to shake a tail feather at. I mean, like, these things are fucking powerful. That's the main point. Fucking black dragon worm. God damn, same thing. You know, if it's dropped to 0, it goes up to 425, and this one's breathing out acid. But like these guys are pretty sick. You know, draconian mages, draconian foot soldiers. Like, these are guys that I'm like, these are guys that like I have considered, but you know, I'm very specific about where I want to put them. An infiltrator based on a black dragon, and they have wings. Oh man, yeah, lots of cool stuff in fizz bands, but again, it's, in my opinion, it's mostly just the bestiary that's in there. All right, let's see. Makes me wonder why those were created if they seem so the reason why they're created is it's not necessarily in a way to teach people to retreat. The reason why really strong monsters like that are created is to teach players how to deal with whatchamacallit, how to deal with threats in a non-direct manner. Okay, when you are dealing with like a great worm, for example, that is not something that you can just keep loading damage into. Okay, like let's look at that. Red great worm. Okay. So again, its chromatic awakening is only once per short or long rest, okay? But this basically means that it has 958 hit points, okay? That's what it means. So if it's basically able to just take 900 points of damage, it is going to kill a party well before the party kills it. So dealing with something like this is all about figuring out ways to get rid of it without having to necessarily kill it. Okay, casting gate, casting banishment, you know, trying to get it to go to another plane of existence, trying to turn it into something else, trying to get something that can combat something like this. you know, like these are more cataclysmic events. These are on the scales of like a volcano or an earthquake destroying a region. Okay, that's what these are. That's like kind of the Tarrasque. Okay, you know, the Tarrasque is such a famous monster in D&D because it is a CR 30 creature. It has the most standard hit points of any creature. You know, it does a ton of damage, makes 5 attacks. Okay, but somebody eventually points out, like, hey, you have a level 2 Aarakocra cleric, you can destroy this thing in a couple minutes. Okay, because it doesn't have a great reach. So all you have to do is stay out of its range, and that's about it. But again, it's just going to destroy an area. You know, it's not necessarily about killing it outright. It's about stopping it. So again, it's why they're not used that often. So, you know, most people aren't using them, and they don't see a lot of use because, one, most campaigns don't get to the point where that's the kind of character that you're using, that's kind of monster that you would be using. But in addition to that, it's also the point of like where are you going to have something like that staged? You know, I mean, hell, even a normal dragon, most parties shouldn't be fighting normal dragons. If any DM worth their salt, you know, used an adult red dragon against a party, a level 2 artificer with a bunch of familiars can cast point. Yeah. But like any good DM worth their salt that pits like even a level 20 party against a red dragon is going to deal a decent amount of damage if they play into like lair actions and regional effects and legendary actions. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've had legendary monsters not use legendary actions because it would imbalance the encounter across any of my campaigns. But like 60-foot cone, DC 21 deck save, dealing 18 D6, like that's a lot of damage. I mean, hell, even in my P5 campaign, whenever I had the party fight against Cryovane's technically a leveled down white dragon. He's like a young white dragon, but he's even like leveled around that. I don't know. But yeah, you know what though? I was trying to pull up some images, and I don't necessarily know how I feel about these. There, wait. If I can even pull it up. This image doesn't want to pull up. Yeah, this one image is not wanting to come up, but I can show you guys at least what we got. We got Frostwalker. Nope, let's do it this way. There we go. So there's some art for Frostwalker's Veil, which honestly looks pretty sick. I think that looks pretty cool. I mean, as far as, you know, a thin layer of ice forming around your feet, obscuring your movement and quickening your speed, sure. I don't necessarily know about the cane, but, you know, it is what it is. This glacial shield, I don't know if I'm sold on this. I'll have to play with this one a little bit. Don't know why it actually has a full-on shield, but we can play with some words. And then lastly, I like this, the icy shackles, the icebind shackles. That looks really cool, actually. I do like how the shackles, like, almost are forming out of ice around his, around the waist. Like this looks more like ice, and then it turns into chains, and then is, like, also binding around the arms. That is, like, this to me is cool. Like, this one sells it to me. Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna play with it. I don't necessarily know if it's that. I don't think it's that necessary to have art for every spell. I think, you know, Icebind will probably be the one that we do. So yeah. That's probably going to do it for me tonight. Like I said, tonight was going to be short. I got to be up early tomorrow to take my wife to the doctor's. But I think we did well tonight. I think we did really well, and kind of finishing off Frostfell Adventures strong. So tonight we put together Frostwalker's Veil, a first level transmutation spell that allows you to move through icy terrain a little bit faster and a little bit more stealthily. Glacial Shield, which is going to be replacing the shield, the physical shield that we talked about before, is now a reactionary spell. So, and if anything, we might just have eventually, you know, like, a shield that allows you to cast Glacial Shield like once a day or something like that, because that would not be too ridiculous. And then we'd made Icebind Shackles, basically taking the idea of the fire shackles from the Rune Knight, making it icy and making them a little bit stronger to break out of. In addition to that, and our Walking Hibernator feat, we came up with Elemental Touch, which can be used across the board, but with this we're going cold. You're able to manifest an icy chill from your touch. You have resistance to cold damage and are able to replace any damage type for an attack or spell you cast with cold damage. So now next week is a split week, and I talked about this a couple weeks ago, but next week is like, it starts on the 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st, and then we got the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So next week, I'm probably going to be working on the PDF for this, and we might be just brainstorming some general ideas for February. Like real generic, you know, nothing really, like, you know, holding us in kind of things. Now some of the stuff that I put for that, and some of the details that I have, I don't know why there's an extra page there. That's weird. So February, and we'll get to that. You know, we're really gonna get to this next week, is the Court of Love and Valor, where romance meets chivalry in a dance of destiny. So the idea that I had for this was a Gallant Knight Paladin. So we'll have to look into a Paladin subclass. I've never made a Paladin before, so this will be new for me. And then we'll come up with some race and background. And then, you know, we'll have to look at what we're doing when it comes to magic items and stuff like that. You know, it's gonna be good. And I put down Breathtaking for the spell, because I think that's a really cool, I think that would be a cool spell of, like, causing somebody to suffocate, you know, just because of how breathtaking you are. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me tonight. You know, this was, like I said, this was going to be a short one. So, I want to thank you guys for joining me and helping me finish up Frostfell Adventures. I'm going to start to throw these things out into the wild and get people's opinions, see what they think, and then I'm going to start putting together that PDF. So I also got to get wording together. That's like a big thing. I'm probably going to do that maybe Thursday or Friday. But yeah, join me Wednesday when we build that Lego dice tower. So we'll have a lot of fun putting that thing together. I want to say, I know I saved them. Hold on. You date. Was this it? Oh. Is there any way to see what you have currently? Currently for what? All the things created during stream for Frostfell. Not at the moment, but I will be adding them to those listings over in the Discord. So like the magic items should be over there. And then I'm gonna put the spells and feats probably tomorrow. That's where I'm probably going to keep most of that stuff living until it goes into a PDF. So, but fun thing, for Wednesday, the instructions for building the dice tower are actually online. So you'll be able to watch me build step by step. Oh man, look at that, fucking 150 some steps later. But yeah, so that's gonna be it for me tonight. Thank you everybody for joining me. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight and helping me build some stuff. I will see you guys Wednesday when we build some Legos. So see you then. Enjoy your night. Bye.